In previous lesson, we've learned how to add item to the cart. In this lesson, we're gonna learn how to remove item from the cart. So let's create our remove item action. You can copy that line of code, just copy it and just close this curly braces. Okay, and let's rename it with remove item. It takes the state because we're gonna change our state, and it takes action because we need the action.payload. The payload is the item because the action.payload contains the quantity and the price, and we need the quantity and the price because we want to decrease this price too and decrease this quantity too. So we need the state to change it, and we also take action.payload to use this payload data. Okay, what are we gonna do here? We're gonna just change our state.items. State.items, it's gonna equal what? We're gonna just filter it. For example, state.items.filter. What are we gonna do? We have here the cart items, and this cart items has the IDs of this French fries and the ID of this mini dish. Okay, we're gonna take item.id and compare it with the action.payload.id. The action.payload.id, we take it when we dispatch that action. And if the item.id not equals to the ID from payload.actions, we're gonna filter the array. We're gonna return the whole array, but we're gonna just delete the ID that is selected. So let's take an item equals to item.id. This item.id, we'll take it from our array, from this array. We want to filter it not to be equal action.payload.id. .id. Okay, we're just making that filter. So now let's try to add some from that and some from that and some from that and go for testing. Let's just copy this action name and go to new order screen. Here, new order screen. In this property called onRemove, we'll just dispatch that action. Let's dispatch the remove item action. Just don't forget to import it, but we cannot import it here because we didn't export it there. So let's go to our cart reducer and just copy its name and add it here. Now we can export it. Okay, so now let's go here and import it. Now we can import it from store.cartReducer, store/cartReducer, and just give him the item. Okay, and where we got that item from, we just get it from here. We're passing it as an argument. Okay, so now let's try to test. Let's add some from that and some from that, and let's go and testing. Let's press here. Oops, now we have a bug here. It removed all the item. I want to decrease it by 1 and decrease this price of this item.price, not decrease all of them. Look. So now in our cart reducer, we need to create a condition. What is this condition? We're gonna see if the item is exist or not. If it's exist, decrease it by 1. So let's create our condition. We've created here before in our add item action. So let's copy it from here. Don't worry, I'm gonna describe it. Const is exist. Is the item exist in the cart or not? We're just gonna state.items, I mean all the items of the cart, and we're using the find method. This find allow us to search with the ID. If the ID of action.payload from that item is equal to item.id of the cart, if the action.payload.id equals to the item.id of the cart, please make this is exist true. Okay, so let's now create our if condition. If it exists, do something. Else, remove it. Let's just format our code. Now, what are we gonna do if the item exists? We're gonna just decrease its quantity and the price. Here, when we add an item, we just increase the price and increase the quantity. But here we're gonna decrease them. Just we can copy that and decrease it here. For example, is exist dot quantity, make it -1. I mean, decrease it by 1. Okay, and also is exist or exist item dot sum, just decrease action dot payload dot price, decrease it by its price. Okay, now let's press save and test it. Let's go here and add some of that and some of that, and let's go to the cart and test. Let's press here. Great, it's working. Press again, it's working. But now we have a bug. See what will happen here? See, it became 0. Look, it became -1, -2, -3. It doesn't make any sense. We have a great bug here. So now how to solve this bug? We need, this condition needs something else. What's this thing? I'm gonna tell you. We want to create in this condition if the item is exist in the cart and the quantity is not 1. I mean, if this quantity 4, just decrease it. And if it's 3 or 2, just decrease. But when it's equals to 1, please remove it. Because if this one and I press here, just remove all the item. So let's add to this condition. Just make sure is exist dot quantity is not equal to 1. Okay, and let's press save and let's test again. So now let's add some of that and some of that, and let's test. Let's remove. Now it's equals to 1. When I press here, it should be removed. Look, great, we have removed that item. Let's test that again. Look, great. Now we have successfully implementing our remove item action in this app. Let's just format our code. I hope this lesson was easy to you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button, and see you in next lesson.